Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Costa Rica Real Estate and Investments with me, your host, Richard Bexon, coming to you live here from Guanacaste. I suppose it's not live as this is just recorded, but I suppose I'm live at this particular moment in time. Anyway, let's get straight into what we're going to be discussing today. We're going to be meeting again with Rebecca Clower. If you guys remember, she's the chief broker and also owner of Blue Water Properties in Tamarindo. She's had an amazing year. Those guys serve the whole of the Guanacaste coast. She's one of the most resourceful, energetic people I know. She's been on HGTV and some other real estate and kind of property TV programs. She's a bit of a star down here. So we're going to be getting a bit of an update from her about what's going on in the area. We're also going to touch a little bit on construction as well, as we're starting to see a bit of a move as inventory gets low to people buying land and actually building here. Remember, guys, if you have any questions for me or would like my help with anything, my email address is info@investingcostarica.com. It doesn't matter how big, how small it is. Just let me know. I'm more than happy to help. Remember, subscribe to the channel, guys. We'll keep you up to date. We usually get about 1 or 2 podcasts out a week. And if you have any comments for Rebecca or would like to get in contact with her, all of her contact details will be in the description down below. Let's get started. Rebecca, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm super. How are you?
Very, very good. Thanks very much for coming on the podcast again.
My pleasure.
Awesome. So we spoke again, I think it was back in March, April time. And since then, I know that we've spoken quite a bit. But it's been absolute crazy. But I mean, what's really surprised you in the last 6 months? And also, I'd like to know what trends are you seeing as well?
Well, right now we have, I think, the same problem we had in March, which is basically a lack of inventory, which obviously is good for sellers, but not so great for buyers, and obviously drives up the cost, right? So
Yep.
it's a catch-22. That's pretty much what I've seen is that, they're holding strong. We're getting people from all over the world. I continue to be surprised by values. I continue to be surprised by the amount of people that purchase sight unseen. I feel like there's a lot of
Wow.
fleeing going on from all over the country. So that's kind of what I've been feeling the last
Wow.
6 months up until now.
I mean, with regards to trends, I mean, if there's not that much product out there at the moment, are you seeing a lot of people that are actually buying land and building, or are you still seeing a lot of like stuff being sold?
What I find is a lot of people would like to buy land and build, but unfortunately, the same thing is going on with land. We lack inventories. So I've seen that people are looking at both options. Obviously, you can get a more bang for your buck with a lot in building, but obviously, it's also a catch-22 because you have to wait for the building process, you have to do the plans, you have to go through that whole thing, right? So some people, if you're in a rush, then obviously buying land and building is not going to work.
Yep.
Those who want to buy land because they're looking to maximize profit and maybe perhaps get into something, once the house is built, they have instant equity, then obviously that's still definitely something that people are looking for. The only thing is as you know, prices have gone up a lot with certain building materials. So that's affected also the profitability of buying land and building.
So, I mean, I think that everybody knows that you're based in the kind of the Tamarindo area. You also live in Flamingo as well. Can you describe that area for people that are listening here, just so that they can have an idea of kind of those areas? Because I know the 2 areas are different as well, and also what the community is like in those areas.
For sure. My main office is in Tamarindo. We're going to be opening up an office in Flamingo, which is where I currently live. And we also have an office in Playa del Coco. So we basically cover about an hour, over an hour actually, of coastline. So things have been really booming. I mean, the areas have some things in common and then some things that are quite different. I think I see more families flocking to the area between Tamarindo and Potrero, basically, just because of schooling and amenities and things like that, but mostly because of other families and private school options. And then up in Coco, you'll get, not that we don't have a retiree segment here, because we definitely do, especially in Flamingo and the marina and everything that's coming. But up in Playa del Coco overall, you'll find a lot more of the retirees. There's also families up there. And because of its proximity to the Liberia airport, a lot of people prefer to be up in that area. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's a great summary. I mean, again, Coco is, I would agree, it's kind of more retirees. There are some families around here as well, but there aren't as many private schools as you guys have, I suppose, got just over the hill there, kind of 30, 40 minutes down from the Tamarindo area.
Well, I mean, one interesting thing I saw is that La Paz, which is where my children attend school, they just opened another campus actually in Comunidad. So that was particularly to help those who live in the Coco Hermosa area that have children, so they don't have to travel so far. Because we actually had several children that were living in Coco that were coming all the way to Brasilito to go to school.
Wow.
So I think it's great that they opened up that campus, and it seems really successful. So I think that just basically is telling us that there are in fact families in Cocoa and people want to have more options there. But I think all areas have their pros and cons as always. But I think our
Yep.
whole area in general is really beautiful. And of course, as you know, Guanacaste has the most sunshine days of sunshine per year. So that's definitely one of the things that is. Is it
Yeah,
sunny over there?
it's sunny over here. I don't know. How is it over there? I'm in Coco. How are you
Well,
over
I'm in
it?
my office, but it's sunny here too. It's amazing.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
We're spoiled, right?
Another sunny day in October, which is
Ah,
rare because
e-
we're in rainy season, right? So.
exactly. Exactly. So, I mean, just to give people an idea, how much would a 3-bedroom home cost in each Tamarindo, Flamingo, and say Potrero area, just to kind of give people an idea?
Yeah, I mean, right now, just to give you a ballpark figure, most homes that are 3 bedroom, depending on whether or not it has view or not, but my least expensive homes, let's say in remodel condition for a 3 bedroom,
Yep.
will run around 400,000. This is more of a mountain view situation, not ocean view.
Yep.
Least expensive ocean view property that I know of in the market's going to be in the upper 500 range, and go up from there depending on the area. And then in our area, the values would be a little bit higher just because the things that are driving up those values is, of course, the marina and other things that are going on in our area. So you're looking at, generally speaking, anywhere from 450 to, let's call it, 800. Again, depends upon the size of the house,
Of course.
views, amenities. And of course, we have our multi-million dollar mansions and everything in between. So we kind of have something for everyone here.
I always like to ask you guys this, but I mean, what listings do you have at the moment that you would personally buy and why?
I have a really great deal on 2 building lots. They're side by side, 70,000 for both of those. And the great thing about that is it could actually be a duplex situation, but it's within a gated community, and it's down. Although it's down a dirt road, it's in an area on the backside of Playa Conchal. And so Reserva Conchal basically is literally across the street from it, the backside of their property. So
Wow.
it's kind of an area of future growth. And down that same road, I have some ocean view lots that I'm going to be listing for between 125 and 150 that I think are a great deal. And that's for half-acre lots with some of the most stunning views that exist in our area.
With water and electricity?
With water and electricity. And that's also in a gated community. It's 2 of the
Wow.
only gated communities down that dirt road. So that's definitely something that's not going to last. So
Yeah, I may come knocking on your door on that one, Becky. Again, my wife, my wife keeps pushing me to move to Guanacaste as well. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm trying to stay in the city at the moment because again, I travel all over the country. So once I'm in Guanacaste, to get to the south of the country takes a little bit longer.
Exactly.
So well, let's discuss Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Let's discuss the buy versus build thing, because again, I'm starting to see a bit of a trend there more towards people, because again, the inventory, or they can't find the property that they're looking for, or it's not on the market yet. A lot of people looking to potentially, kind of build here, because I mean, you've built here. I mean, I don't think building's ever easy in whichever country that you do it in. And I think that as long as you get great references and see the product that builders have built before, and ask people like yourself for references, I don't think it is that much of a nightmare. I mean, it's not going to be easy, but it shouldn't be a nightmare if you've done your research well. But I mean, when do you think people should look at building instead of buying, and what things should they be aware of, like hidden costs, length of the process, etc.?
Well, I think you said it just now. Basically, if you're not finding what you want, which is basically what happens to me,
Yep.
or you gravitate towards $1 million house, but your budget's only 500,000 or 600,000, which is also me.
Yep.
So what do? I'm always buying a lot and I'm building. And then you build in your own equity. Again, there's always the pros and the cons of everything that goes on, but we've never lost with anything that we've built here. So I think, again, I've been here for 15 years. I've built over a dozen times. And we've never lost in any of the builds that we purchased. I can't say the same when I bought raw land. Obviously, when you start, buying land and putting it in its best and highest use, which is obviously having a structure there,
Yep.
your chance of losing, especially in a market like this, are minimal. So if you're looking for minimal risk, I would say go that route. And then all you have to do is pick the right builder and the right architect, which for me, again, I had a bad first experience, but after that, you figure it out, and then you help your clients in turn so that they don't make the mistakes that I made, and they pick the right builder that's honest, and they pick the right architect who's not going to rip them off, etc. So that's why I'm always building.
Yep.
That doesn't mean that you can't find something good on the market. You might be lucky and find something that works for you that's already built. And of course, we touched upon it before. If you don't have the time, the patience, or the wherewithal to wait a year to have the construction complete, then obviously it's better to look for an already built product.
Yeah, I agree. I agree there. I think that's some really good feedback there. I mean, I think the one thing that keeps echoing in my head from what you've said there is, it's great buying land, but like playing the land banking game, is not always, it doesn't create cash flow sometimes. Whereas if you do buy a piece of land, build something on it, and are able to cash flow it, at least you've got that cash flow coming in as well.
Correct. I mean, that's why a lot of our clients will, again, purchase something that's already built or purchase a condo at the beach, because that's kind of a no-brainer. Especially in the Tamarindo or the Flamingo area, because they are more walking towns, and a lot of people will choose one or the other in terms of just accessibility and it being easy. And sometimes people on their very first trip to Costa Rica want an easy vacation.
Yep.
They don't want to rent a car. They want to be where they can walk or take taxis or drive their golf cart around. So you're limited, right? You're limited. And so you tend to gravitate towards the more touristy areas. I live away from the beach. We're close to Flamingo Beach, but you still have to drive. It's close, like, 3-4 minute drive, but you're not walking there. And people ask me about that too. Well, how can you have a good, vacation rental situation if you're not close to the beach or walking distance? Because most of the people that rent homes tend to rent a car or rent a golf cart or rent an ATV, but they have some mode of transportation.
Well, I think it's great. I think that's great feedback, because here is to get the view. Sometimes you need to be further away from the beach or higher in elevation. Whereas if you want to be close to the beach, sometimes you don't get the views.
No, that's exactly right. But I think sometimes people don't put two and two together. They say, I want to be oceanfront, but I want to be up high. You can't have both.
Yep.
And if you do, there's very few like that, as you know. I mean, you're going to have like 20 million steps down to the beach, because sure, you're oceanfront, you might be on a cliff.
Yep.
But you just have to be realistic about what it is you're looking at and for, and understand the topography of Costa Rica and how it kind of works. So,
Becky, what questions do you think that people are looking to buy something in Costa Rica or invest in Costa Rica should be asking that a lot of them don't ask?
I think a lot of people, well, for example, they don't understand the concept of concession versus title property.
Yep.
I think that's one of the big ones. As you know, 95% of the oceanfront property here is concession, which is basically like a land lease from the government. It's renewable in 20-year increments usually. And I don't deal too much with concession. Our area actually has a lot of title beachfront, luckily. We're one of the few areas. So I'm dealing with 2 concession properties right now. And a lot of people get turned off by it. But if they knew that 95% of the other properties in this country are also concession, including where the Four Seasons is in Peninsula Papagayo, then I think that they wouldn't be so worried about it. And basically, if you're just following the rules, the use of what the land, needs to be used as, and there's no reason that the government wouldn't renew the concession, as long as you're paying the taxes and doing what the concession says. That's number one. And another one people ask is if they have the same ownership rights as Costa Ricans. Absolutely. And that's one of the great things here too. Not all countries are like that. You have to have a citizen purchasing, but here foreigners have the exact same rights as Costa Rica citizens, which is great.
Yeah, I was speaking to some guys the other day who were looking to actually invest in Thailand, but I kind of brought up the idea to that. I brought up the thing to them of like, guys, you personally can't own it. Like 51% needs to be owned by a Thai person. So like, you're going to have to go into business with someone if you don't know someone. And like, to have that level of trust, I think is pretty, that's a bit of a stretch sometimes. Whereas here in Costa Rica a foreigner is exactly the same as a citizen here when it comes to owning land. I mean, concessions, that there are some complications in that, of course, but there are ways to get around it. I was going to
just mention that concessions, you do have to have a Costa Rican on there with you, but usually that can be your attorney, and they don't have signing authority or anything like that. It's just basically in name.
Yep.
But even so, I feel like we have a lot more things here that protect us than in other parts of the world.
Yeah, I agree. And I think what you said there about concessions is really important as well. I mean, the majority of luxury homes, luxury hotels here are built in the concession.
Correct.
But like it's great cash flow. It's beachfront. Like it's beautiful. Like don't be turned off by it. But like you might not have a title, but like as long as you use it correctly, like you're not building, I don't know, you were meant to build a house and you end up building a massive hotel on it. They're going to renew it in 20 years. I don't
Well,
often.
I've always
Yeah.
said that, they're not making any more beachfront,
Nope.
and for that matter, the ocean view properties are the ocean view properties. So, obviously those are going to be the most sought after properties, but people also tend to pull a good profit with land that's walking distance to the beach. So even if they have no view, or they're not ocean front, there's still walking distance, which seems to be almost as important to people as having an ocean view or being ocean front.
Yeah.
Just the accessibility, being able to walk to shops, the beach, etc.
I think that's great advice.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask you, Becky, a question here because maybe this is a bit of a sensitive subject with regards to realtors. How should you make sure that you've got yourself a good realtor in Costa Rica? Because, there's this registration, not registered, with SUHE, et cetera, et cetera. Like it's a bit murky out there. Like, I mean, what questions do you think people should be asking their realtor?
Yeah, I think what it comes down to is that we have two different boards governing. Well, I should say we have two different real estate boards in the country, and I think it's always good to choose someone that's part of one of the two organizations in the country. We are held to a higher standard. We have to adhere to the ethics of the National Association of Realtors, and so I think that's one of the most important things. And then on top of that, it's extremely important to pick somebody who, for example, is a resident, legal resident, someone who has market knowledge, someone who's registered with SUHEF, which is what you had talked about, which is basically the superintendent of finances here in Costa Rica for the banks. And then there's many rules that we have to follow, including having electronic invoices, et cetera. But I think those are the most important things. I mean, I'm also a real estate agent in Florida. I was licensed in Florida and worked there for many years. But while that gives us credibility, that it's not a requirement to have a real estate license here because we're not quite there yet, but we're getting there.
Yep.
And so I think all of those things, and don't be afraid to Google your real estate agent, and don't be afraid to ask for references. I actually think that's the most important thing.
I agree. Like references of people that have bought with you, like would they go back and do it again? What were the challenges? I think that's great feedback, Becky, because again, there are a lot of realtors in Costa Rica, no?
Okay, there's a lot of realtors. Not all of us are created equal. I'm happy to say, at least with my team, we're comprised of 18 people, but 18 people that work together as a family and people that are true professionals in what they do. And I do feel that in the country, we have a great number of professionals. But unfortunately, sometimes you have your unscrupulous people.
Yep.
And then sometimes you have, your taxi drivers that want to be real estate agents and your tour guides. And,
Yep.
Nothing against those guys. I love them. But if they're truly doing justice for their client that they have in the car, they're taking on a tour, they refer to one of us. One of us is real estate professionals, because that's how it really needs to be done. This is what we do for a living. We take it seriously. And this is a career for us. It's not just a side gig. So definitely, we take things seriously. And again, we're held to a higher level, a higher standard. And it's easy, like I said, with the internet at your fingertips to find out what your real estate agent's all about. Ask them what kind of background they have. Don't be afraid to ask, what they've done and what they're, I've had people ask me for a resume.
Yep.
So I don't mind if people ask me for a resume. I had to make one up for those people though, because I didn't have one. So
it's kind of nice to get your balls busted sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, well, I think you've answered this question, but I'm going to ask it to you anyway. But if you inherited $500,000, Becky, and had to invest it into a business or real estate here in Costa Rica, what would you do with it at the moment and why?
Commercial.
Yeah.
Yep. Building commercial center, which is actually what we're just about to do, but we're waiting on our water letter. And just to give you an idea on how I know it's good, at least in our area in Flamingo, we have the marina coming. We have a severe shortage of commercial spaces. I literally just put up the rendering on my Facebook page and I had it 90% reserved.
Wow.
And it's really crazy. I sold some land to some of my clients, in Canada, and convinced them to go 50-50 with my husband and I, and we're building a small commercial center.
Nice.
And when you get it reserved like that and haven't even done anything, I think that goes to show you that there's a severe shortage of not only commercial space, but nice, new, modern commercial space.
Yeah.
And people are willing to pay for it.
Well, and I think it also helps that you're very well known in the community as well, and a stand-up person and do great work. So that also helps.
I mean, obviously that tends to attract more people. So.
You know, one thing I thought about the other day, I was talking to my wife about it. I was just like, you know what? Is there a toy shop up there? I know this may sound random, but like, where do people go to get toys?
There is. In Tamarindo, there's a small toy shop. I think there's still one on the second level of a commercial center in Huacas. But yeah, I mean, it would be really awesome to have like a, jugueton or toys, one of those little franchises over here. Because the nearest one for us, or like Universal, is in Liberia. Yep. So it would be nice for us to have something like that here. I think there's a need for that. That and a jump park for those of us who have children.
I mean, basically anything to wear the kids out, right?
Yes.
So I think that's really important for people to understand that, like, look, you can come here, you can make a life here, you can make a living here. Like, look at services, look at, like, I suppose, businesses that work in other parts of the world, because I think there's an opportunity to put them here.
Well, we have a lot of clients that say, okay, I'm moving here, I want to start a business. And they'll ask me and say, hey, Becky, what do you need? What do you need that you don't have at the beach? I mean, my list can go on and on. But no, thankfully, over the years, obviously, things have changed a lot in the last 15 years. And we have pretty much all the amenities, I think, that we could use. But it's amazing how things are expanding. There's always a need for certain businesses. So I think if you want to come here and start a business, as opposed to buying into one, definitely ask the people that live here and try to see what we need that we don't have that could work, not only for the foreign market, but the national market, the local market, because they're the ones who are going to pull you through the slow times and the low markets and all that good stuff.
I agree. I mean, if you can have something that's in the mechanics of like people's day-to-day lives for everybody, it means you don't get those peaks and valleys that you would do in, say, I don't know, in vacation rentals or here in travel, but if it's something that people need in their day-to-day life, or it's a recurring expense, like, I don't know, storage or, something like that, then you know that you've got that money coming in constantly.
For sure. Self-storage is definitely a profitable business here, for sure. Same as commercial. Again, just due to the limited inventory that we have. I think if someone owned land in Tamarindo near the main road, they would do a parking garage, because we have severe parking issues. And I feel like, I actually think they're going to do a parking garage over by the marina, but all of those things I feel like would be good. There's also rumors that Alto Mercado is moving to going to be opening in Flamingo across from Banco Nacional.
Wow.
I don't know if that's true, but it's what I hear. So that would be pretty epic, because then I wouldn't have to go to Tamarindo to do my shopping. So all of these things are important, right? For our area. I think when Alto Mercado is moving in, they know something that maybe we don't, or we already do know, but.
I mean, those guys study data constantly. So whenever they go in, that a place is about to kind of take off. So yes.
They're the real deal, and they're not investing millions of dollars if they don't know, the market is there and it's solid and it's going to support what they have. The Tamarindo Alto Mercado is one of the best performing markets actually in the country, which is interesting because everybody flocks there. We all drive, and people drive like 45 minutes away just to go to
the supermarket.
Yeah, true.
Well, Rebecca, I'll let you get on with your day because I know that you're very, very busy. Again, I really thank you very much for your time. This has been great. I'm sure that a bunch of questions are going to come from this. I think it's been very insightful from the real estate front, but also kind of more of the moving here and the business, kind of investing into a business here. So I'm going to put all your contact details again in the description. I'm sure a lot of people reach out to you and contact you as they always do. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It was awesome.
All right. Have a great day, Becky.
Take care. Bye.
Bye. Hey guys, another great episode there with Rebecca Clower from Blue Water Properties. Some great information in there. If anyone's confused or need any help with anything or pointing in the right direction, feel free to comment away on this or contact us directly at info@investingcostarica.com. We're happy to help in anything. Doesn't matter how big or how small it is. Remember, we have podcasts that also come out 1 to 2 per week. We're available on Apple, Spotify, and also on YouTube. Remember, if you've liked this, please give us a thumbs up with reviews so that more people can subscribe and get great value out of some of these podcasts. Thanks very much, and we'll see you again very soon for another episode of Costa Rica Real Estate Investing with me, your host, Richard Beckson.